President of the world. I want the smartest guy. And the smartest guy is Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton should be the president of the world, absolutely. A lot of people in the Western world would like you to believe that it cannot, and it only strengthens democracy and strengthens the Western resolve. I am not so sure. I believe that if you have been oppressed long enough, that your resolve to fight your cause, to fight the oppressor, will probably prevail over the comforts that democracy provides. And as is well known, obviously, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. So terrorists are obviously only labels that we put on people who are our enemies, are the people that don't, see our cause. And I believe that the people that have been oppressed long enough will ultimately prevail against democracies if they have been oppressed, long enough. Well, again, depends who you ask. Since you're asking me, I'll say that the earth rules the world. The whole rules the world. The man rules the world. Somewhere along the line, we decided to subdivide ourselves into all these little different sectors known as countries or tribes or different people with different agendas and different religions and different points of view and so on. But ultimately, I believe that Mother Nature probably has the ultimate power, which I think has been proven over and over again, at least the last few years. And when Mother Nature gets really pissed off, she'll throw down and remind everybody who really rules this planet. I'm not going to get into the corny elements of, the stuff you hear on, in the afternoon on MTV and so on. The reason you should vote is so you feel that you have a say in what happens to the taxes that you pay, and that you feel that if you want to feel that you're contributing to where your taxes go, you should vote. If you're not interested in helping allocate your tax payments to particular things, then don't vote. I'm not going to sit on a high horse and lecture people about that. I just wish that I've never voted in my life because I've lived in the United States since I was 17. And I would really like to do that one day. So obviously the options are to move back to Denmark or become an American citizen. And maybe one day, just for the fun of trying to vote, I'll do one of those two. I think that obviously with the progress that's been made in most Western civilizations in the last 50, 75, 100 years, the general answer would be no, women are not more inclined to be more democratic, but there are probably more exceptions to that rule than if you flip-flop the question and said, are men more democratic? Who's God? Which God? There are so many gods, it's difficult to keep track of these days. You're going to have to ask somebody who has a closer relationship to God than I do. I would start a revolution if I wasn't allowed to express myself, if I was not allowed to delve into the things that turned me on, that got me excited, that fulfilled creative needs in me. If I felt that I was being, oppressed and being held in some sort of situation that was different from, obviously, how I wanted to express myself or interact with other people. That doesn't necessarily preclude that that would be against a government. I mean, it could be in any type of, it could be a domestic situation, it could be starting revolutions, you know, within yourself, within, you know, the household, within the family, within, you know, the city block you live in the suburb or whatever. I mean, it's not, it doesn't preclude I'm starting a revolution against the government. Well, yeah, I mean, the great thing about the global warming crisis is that it's something, there's so much progress being made outside of the political arena. So it is that there are certain individuals that have that have economic power, that have literally just the ability to make progress that falls outside of the political arena, and are doing it on a global scale, which I think is very encouraging. So it's one of those things where it doesn't fall in under the either or mentality. It's not either has to be done this way or it has to be done this way. It seems like that solving the global warming crisis and so on, it runs parallel trajectories that, as long as there's progress made, whether it's within the political arena, whether it's in the private sector, whatever it is, on even just individual people at home, turning off the lights, using less fuel. I mean, whatever it is on all these different levels, it all helps at in some way. And the great thing is that goes on in all the different countries, all the different political agendas, and also within the private sector a lot. So I think it's very encouraging. I do believe that if there are, if each individual case is looked at, that, starting with the idea of one man, one vote, one person, one vote, one woman, one vote, one, adult, one vote is a great place to start. But obviously, when it comes to healthcare, education, so many other cultural and social issues in the wake of that, one has to factor in geography, religion, history, and so on. And it's difficult to just say this, as the Americans would like, the American way of democracy is the one that's right for the rest of the world. I mean, that's obviously a load of nonsense. Of course, dictators are not good, except that they hopefully, if we deal less with, in a historical significance, less with a dictator, but look more at what it was that made the situation happen to begin with. Case in point, Germany after World War I. How did Hitler rise to power? What was it that was going on, within Germany, with the whole economic instability and so on in the wake of World War I, that could produce that type of situation? That would be the only thing that dictators are good for, is to, look at historically and making sure that those types of situations never happened again.